All righty. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you guys are in the country. And if it's good morning, wow, that's going to be weird because this is Taco After Dark. If you're watching this in the morning, if you're somewhere else in the world, which we have had some very interesting international people join us before for different things. So welcome everybody that's jumping online right now for Taco After Dark. My name is Dave Holdorf. I am joined by the other two guys of the residential training department, John Barba and also Jason Cox joining us. Say hi, guys.
How you doing?
Hey,
As you can tell,
howdy,
they don't
Taco
listen
family.
to instructions. I asked them to say hi, guys, and neither one of them said that. So that's all right, though.
That's right. We just went off on our own. We are Jason and I are in Seattle right now. We're not in the same hotel. We're not in the same room. Jason's at a hotel down the street. I'm at a hotel up the street. We've been doing some training here in Seattle this week and having a grand old time. And
Kicking some butt up.
yeah, and really enjoying some good classes, some good people. So we're pretty excited. And you've been pretty busy this week too, haven't you, Dave? Dave, I think I lost you. Did we lose your sound, Dave?
We did.
We lost your sound, Dave. Dave's not
Sorry,
there. He is.
I was adjusting the microphone, hit the mute button.
There you go.
If you look over that shoulder there, you'll see out the window the Borgata Hotel here in Atlantic City. So just wrapped up the Eastern Energy Expo here. And I am still in my hotel. So the show's all cleaned up. We're put away. And I'll be hitting the road tomorrow. Been here since Sunday. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So a lot of activities here with the OESP and Eastern Energy Expo. So those of you here on the East Coast that are familiar with that show, and that's where I've been for the last couple of days. In the past, we've had this show in Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, and this was actually our last year in Atlantic City for this show. This show's been moving around over the years. We used to be in the early days, man. We were in Split Rock, Pennsylvania. And we've been at Hershey Convention Center, and we keep growing out of these convention centers. So unfortunately, it's hard for us to get back to Hershey. Hershey was a great place for this trade show.
Hershey was a very good place. Yeah, that was a great location.
And it's been difficult to get back there just because we outgrew it. And we need some place that can handle the bigger spaces for us. You know, we teamed up with another organization called AREE, so Atlantic Region Energy. And they are the guys that are doing the oil delivery trucks and services and oil itself. And so they need a lot of space as well. So between the two of us, we created a really good organization with us specializing in the education side of things. And those guys also on the oil side. And OESP is also growing and changing themselves as well, not just staying, everybody hears OESP and you hear oil and energy service professionals. And we're really changing the name of the organization as the Organization of Energy Service Providers, because that's really what we are, right?
Yeah,
we always, we always say, "Oh, we're plumbing and heating guys." Yeah, we're energy service provider.
There you go.
That's the way we like to look at it now. Yeah.
We've got a lot of guys chiming in. We got Paul from Fairbanks says hi, and Steve Martino from Broomall, Pennsylvania, is in. Of course, Mr. McGrath is in, and he points out it's a R.I.P. to Norm Peterson. We lost George yesterday. And I know when he walked into the pearly gates, everybody up in heaven said, Norm. They had to. What a great character. One of my favorites. Best line ever. How you doing, Norm? He says, it's a dog eat dog world out there, and I'm wearing milk bone underwear. And I appreciate that.
That's excellent. Steve, did you make it by? I know you said you were going to come by the booth. I don't know if I saw you at all while you were here, man. I know you said you were going to come by and visit me at the booth. I'm not sure if forgive me if I did meet you, because there was a lot of people that was going through. So been a very, very busy couple of days. So let me know if you stopped by the booth. Anybody online with us tonight, if you came by, it'd be great. Let me know that you came by and saw at least somebody here at the show itself. I did a training class, which was actually tonight's session, more or less. So on Taco After Dark. So with that being said, I guess we should probably get this thing going. I know the gent from Mechanical Hub are probably not going to join us tonight. I do know that Mr. Tim Ward was here yesterday.
Ah,
So he is, I think, on a plane tonight heading back to Arizona. So
Mhm.
so I don't think we're going to see him online. I don't see him here logged in now. And I think John was tied up as well someplace else. So anyways, well, let's get some of this stuff going tonight. So part 6, controlling our hydronic systems. So last week we talked about zone valves versus zone pumps and that great debate that I think will never, ever end. All right. Yes, Mr. O'Brien was there. I just finished dinner with him 5 seconds ago. So yes, Bob is also a very, very large component of OESP here as well. And so last week we talked about zone valves versus zone pumps, which way is best, right? And and those of you that joined us tonight, which one was better? Which one was the best? All
I
right.
know.
There you go, Eugene. That's right. Or both. Yes.
Neither or both.
Neither or both. That's right. Right. So tonight we're going to make sure we can distinguish how do we control those things? How are we going to do the wiring? And we have updated our control. So if you've been familiar with any of the Takeo controls over the 30 some odd years that we've been doing them, we've had some updates over the years. And the last time we've done an update was about 13, 14 years ago. So I want to make sure that we address a lot of those changes that we've done, but also a lot of the things that have remained the same as we go through tonight. So Takeaway After Dark, if this is your first time joining us, if you haven't been to a Takeaway After Dark yet, this is our factory class. So our factory class, which is a 2-day class that we do several times a year, we brought it online and we're breaking it down this year into 9 one-hour segments. We do individual registrations because it helps everybody all around. It reminds me that we have a class coming up tomorrow, say if it was yesterday, 1 hour beforehand. And we also do that as well. So this way, for those of you that are looking for some PDH credits as well, we do those in those 1 hour segments. Okay. And tomorrow, in about 23 hours time, you will get an email from us saying, 1, thank you for joining us. 2, you will have that PDH connected to it. And 3, you'll have a link to the recording. And if you can't make a class and you can't make it, still register. Again, we need you to register for the class because the next day we are selling your email. All right, somebody's got to supplement me being here in Atlantic City.
No, we're not. You lying sack, you know
No,
what?
no.
Friends, he's fibbing.
Right. No, if you register for the class and you can't make it, at least you'll get a link to the recording. All right. So that's
There
really
you go.
why we want you to. So that's about it. And of course, let's try to make sure this is not a one-way street here with just the 3 of us talking. All right. Everybody's microphones are muted. Just because we could see over 100 people join us usually in these things. So we had way too many microphones on, there'd be nothing getting done. So those of you, I know a few people have already have taught to ask questions or chime in through the questions chat area. So let us know where you're from tonight. All right, what's going on? What's different? What's going on in your neck of the woods? I know here it's starting to fog in, so we're not going to be able to see anything here real soon in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And John and Jason are in. Where you guys hanging? Oh, you're in Seattle. That's right,
We're in
Seattle.
Freezing yet. It's actually cold here, if you can imagine, and it's already the end of May, and we're freezing.
Wow.
Yep, it's sunny, but not all that warm. Not all that warm. We got Sheridan, Wyoming chiming in, flooding like crazy. North Tonawanda, cold in Michigan, cold in Jersey, 53 and rain where Eugene is. Greensboro, North Carolina, beautiful in 83. Well, it's got to be sunny somewhere. I love it. Austin, Texas is chiming in. We got South Jersey. We got, let's see what else. We got Newmarket, Ontario. Honduras. Ricardo is from Honduras. Welcome, Ricardo. That might be our first guest from Honduras. I love it. Great. Excellent. We're
Most
so
definitely.
happy to have you. Jared says Canton, Ohio is wet as hell. So there you go. Welcome to spring.
Excellent. And of course, we're going to have a lot of fun, as you can tell, as we do these things, man. It's got the after dark vibe behind it too, right? So we also say, make sure you bring a pad and a pen and treat it like it was a class. We were sitting there live in front of you, but it's after dark, man. So maybe grab your favorite beverage if you've got one in front of you. All right. I don't have one right now myself. I've got a water I got to suck down. I was talking a lot today. I already did have an after show drink. I did have a nice, it was a really good Manhattan. So that was a couple hours ago already. So 3 in the afternoon, that's okay, Gene. That's all right, brother.
It's take-o after lunch for you, baby. There you go.
That's right. All right. So tonight's theme on sticking with our power trios with the 3 of us going down. All right. I'm assuming a few people have probably picked it up. All right. We got a little police coming along here. So I was texting John right beforehand. He's asked if I was ready for tonight. I said, yes, I'm just about to get arrested. He didn't know how to react to that one. So because I was putting the theme, he didn't know what tonight's theme was tonight. So decided to pick a little bit of police here tonight. So
I appreciate that you put me in the leadership role here. That's generous.
You like that?
I like that.
I figured so. Yep.
Me and Sting. A lot of people get us confused.
I know, right? It's the color of the hair, right? Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. His is very light. Mine is mostly. Go ahead. Your turn.
There's no bald guys here, so yeah.
Yeah, mine is mostly flesh colored, but hey, that's all right.
I have hair. I just choose to shave it.
Okay, I got you. Right. So, excellent, Gene. Thank you, man. All right. So, shall we put the red lights on? Or is the green lights? Got to do the green lights, right?
Put on the green light special.
Got to put on the green lights, So let's get this party started now, shall we? All right, so let's do a deep dive into what the new controls are. This is a little bit different than our typical Take-O After Dark, where we really go into, doing the designs, doing the math, figuring what you need, what you got to do. I'm going to go over how to do the connections tonight and pick the different controls and what changes have we made to make sure everybody is familiar with what we have. So it's a little more product oriented than we have in the past because some of the things that we have done have been what you guys have been asking for over the years. So this is what we call our -5 controls. So the numbers in the beginning pretty much all stay the same. -5 is just the next generation. So the last generation was the -4s.
There you go.
Right? And then what came before the -4s?
I'm going to guess 3.
No, the -2s.
2. 1.
I don't think I've ever seen a -3. I don't think the -3 ever made it to light. That was before I came on board here at Take-O.
The -3 was rumored, but never came to fruition. We skipped right to -4 for the next generation.
Yeah, so we just redesigned it from there and just scrapped where we were going, I'm assuming.
Yep, it was a big change. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the -5 is the latest and greatest. And the one thing I like to talk about with this control, and everybody gets nervous when oh my God, new controls are out. Things are going to be different. It's going to be much harder. It's the same thing. We've just done it better now. Like I said, we've been listening to you guys. It's been 13, 14 years or so since our last generation. So we've had this laundry list of things that we hear from you guys that put these things in on a daily basis. It'd be great if it did this. It'd be great if it did that, right? So let's take a look at what some of those improvements were or are that we've done to the controls. So the first off you're going to see is the part numbers. All right. Now, when we start looking at the switching relays, this is for our zone circulator systems out there. We have our part numbers SR501- all the way up to the 506. The last number tells you how many zones you can control. Simple enough. We're not very creative. Okay. Now I put an asterisk next to the SR501-5 because there wasn't a lot of change done to that control. It's almost identical to what it was before. The only thing that we've changed on that board was really a cover change that's done on it and a little bit on the circuits. on the actual circuit board itself. So, but not a lot of functionality change to it. Everything else, we have a lot of functionality change as well. What we did discontinue, because we had two versions of the Dash 4s. We had, say, the SR 502-4, and then we also had the SR 502-EXP-4. What we discontinued was the standard boards, and we kept the functionality of the EXPs in the Dash 5s. And the reason why we had those two different controllers is that there was a price difference between them. We had added a bunch of functionality to an EXP board, like these dip switches that we'll talk about on the right-hand side, and it gave us a little bit more that we can customize to a job site. But over the years, that pricing started to get closer and closer. So instead of having double the inventory, we went ahead and discontinued the standard boards, and just everything is EXP now. We look at the ZVCs, our zone valve controls. They're doing same thing part number wise. We only have the EXPs and not the standards, in the 403 all the way up to the 406. All right. So before we jump into further things on the Dash 5, let's take a look at what some of the things are that we had in the Dash 4 if you're not that familiar with it. All right. So the first thing that we had made on the Dash 4s was this ability to daisy chain components. All right. We have this expansion terminal, which means we could go from a ZVC to another ZVC to an SR panel to another ZVC. Didn't matter what you had. But you were able to daisy chain these all together with a simple 3-wire thermostat wire, and they were able to communicate to each other. So it made wiring back to the boiler a heck of a lot easier. We also had components on here, and I just noticed something happened to my image here. It's a little askew. The expansion terminal is located right here. The arrow's in the wrong spot. This arrow should be right here where it says power controls. So the boiler and mix set reset controls, we had an add-on controller called the PC 700, 702, 705 that would plug into that terminal that could give us some extra functionality. But it was an option that you can add. We have the DHW terminal. We have our main end switch tying into our boiler for CH. And then we had our priority terminal to our boilers that had a second terminal for an input to tell it to fire. The big change from the Dash 2s to the Dash 4s, we got rid of the ice cube relays. All right. And now we went to solid state relays. So a little bit different. And we made sure they were all fuse protected. The ice cube relays, sure, you had them, you were able to replace them. But the last time I've seen any of these solid state relays go is when the house got a lightning strike. Okay, so question I just saw pop in from Paul. He said, how many boards can you chain together? Up to 120 zones. All right, up to 120 zones. And the only reason why I know that number is because we never tested further than that. Okay, if you have more than 120 zones in a house, you might be over zoning.
Yeah. We have another division of the company to help you out there. Yeah, it's 26 zone controls if you want to look at it that way.
Okay, 20-6 zones. Yes.
Yeah, 26 zone controls.
Zone controls, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we never tested any further than that. And for those of us on the East Coast where we still have a lot of tankless coils, all right, we support that cold start boiler, tankless coils, and as well as ModCon boilers. That's what you can see on the Dash 4. Again, the ZCZR terminals that we have there. And on the expansion, the EXP boards, we had on this switching relay, for example, you'll see an extra circulator relay built in that we would call our primary pump. So for some of those ModCon boilers that had to have a separate circulator that wasn't built in, but you had to make sure it was controlled properly, we had that primary terminal here. So this is showing a 4-zone system where I can actually run 5 pumps. All right, a few more things that we've done on the Dash 4s. All right, we had added the C terminal. All right, the all-powerful C. All right, for all those power-hungry thermostats that are out there, our Wi-Fi style thermostats. We brought the lights to the front, pulled them off of the side, sticking out of the side of the board, especially when that panel went on the right-hand side of the boiler, you couldn't see the lights anymore unless you had a mirror, all right, to get in the back there. So we brought them to the front of the control, had some light pipes so you can see through the cover itself. And then these dip switches that were here gave us some extra functionality like priority protection, all right, or priority on. If your zone you want to designate as a priority zone. We also set up post-purge, all right, post-purge meaning, hey, last zone calls for heat. Let's take the BTUs out of the boiler and dump it, say, into the indirect tank, okay? This way, because the tank's going to hold, a better thermos than, say, our boiler is, and let's put the BTUs there. And we could also do pump exercise. So pump exercise, once every 2 weeks, run the circulators for 30 seconds if there hasn't been a call, especially in the summertime when nothing's been running for a while. And another big change is, especially on the switching relay, we went to bigger terminals. All right, so just a few things that we did. This is the Dash 4s. This isn't even the new stuff just yet. So let's take a look at what those improvements are in the Dash 5s. Again, a lot of this from you guys out there. All right, you take a look at the first board. All right, relatively close, little things that are different. The first thing you're going to notice is that big old white space in the middle of the board. All right, we're giving you a place to label now. The cover, and this is the same for the SRs and the ZVCs here. This is just our exterior enhancements that we've done. The cover comes off with 2 screws and it's on a hinge. So as soon as you loosen up those 2 screws, the cover lifts off to the left and the cover comes completely off the board. So it's very clean, easy to take off. It's also a heck of a lot easier to put on. You line up the 2 tabs, you just drop the cover and it falls on the 2 screws. For those of you that have put in a Dash 4, have you ever gotten all 4 screws the same time the first time? Right? You're always trying to line it up and you always miss one, right? So here you hook up the tabs and it just drops right onto the screws and lines up immediately. And I don't care who you are, will you break out a Sharpie on one of these things? The only zone that looks good is zone 1, right? When you're writing the name of the zone, and then everything else it never gets to the right font size or as you're writing on there with a Sharpie. Now at least we gave you a space to label. Small, but this was what people are asking for. The other thing that we did is we added exterior lights, all right, diagnostic lights for the other things that we were turning on, not just the circulators, but now are you telling the boiler to fire? And we have a couple other auxiliary terminals that now we can see what's being turned on or off, all right? And here's one of my favorites, all right? Talked about this a lot this past week. We have clearance for all angle BX connectors now, all right? I know a few of you guys out there that have put these in and the cover didn't fit after you wired the whole thing up and realized that you needed to put a washer or an extra nut on that BX connector to bring it away, or you broke out the grinder and you cut the cover so it would clear because you didn't want to have to rewire anything. We redesigned it because it was a couple of manufacturers, not all of them, handful of them still worked with that cover, but we wanted to make sure we had clearance for everybody. So that was a big change. I'm really happy with that change that we did there too. And Jason's agreeing. He's shaking his head like, yeah, man, I did that a few times too, right?
Yep. Well, I just presented this today too, and I to a group of about 16 guys, and they all almost applauded. They're like, yes.
That's right. Oh, I had it yesterday in my class too. Yep.
Sometimes it's the smallest things that make the biggest difference.
Exactly. Yep. And somebody said to me today, why didn't you do this so long ago when you knew you had the error? Not the error, but you had the issue. And I said, well, because this is a UL approved control. You can't just go make one little change. Well, you could, but now you have to go in for 9 months of testing with UL. All right. And a big old fat check because it's a whole new design. It's not just that simple to redesign some of these things. So that's why we had this laundry list in order to do everything in one shot for you guys out there. All right. So what's under the hood? What did we do different under the hood on switching relays here? So like I said, this is just like our EXP, the Dash 4 EXPs, but here's some of the few changes that we did. We added back knockouts. So those of you that don't want to have the wires coming out of the top and bottom of the control board, we added a back knockout so you can run those wires through the wall. All right, piece of plywood, something like that. So that's a change that we've done. And we were able to do that because the circuit board got smaller, and we increased the outside dimensions of the controller about a 1/4 inch all the way around. So not a huge change in size, but we got that circuit board smaller so we can allow for the back knockouts. We still have those same programmable end switches, the boiler and priority, but they're programmable, and I'll show you what that means in a bit. We have also made the transformers replaceable. Okay, now they were replaceable before, but unfortunately the transformers were riveted on the board, all right, on that backboard there. So now it's a single screw that you'll see here and a tab that hooks in. And we put a Molex plug on them. And here you're looking at a switching relay. The switching relay comes with a 20 VA transformer. We do have part numbers for a replacement 20 VA, and we also have a part number for a 40 VA. Or you want to add and drop in a 40 to the upper space here if you are looking at those power hungry thermostats that are out there. So right now, this 20 VA transformer is going to be able to power this board itself and the relays and your standard not power hungry thermostats, maybe a thermostat that's got a couple of batteries and some power stealing stats, but not your Wi-Fi design. All right, so that's when you might want to drop in that 40 VA. All right, and everybody should be, if they've got this control in stock, they should be able to get you a 40 VA plug in and you just drop it right in. That was also a big change from the Dash 4s. For example, if we had 2 transformers on here, Transformer 1 covered half the board, Transformer 2 covered the other half. Now what we have is that both transformers can share their power across the entire board, okay? And those auxiliary pump outputs, so the switching relay has 2 auxiliary pump outputs. They do have default settings, but they are changeable. And again, we'll talk about that later. All right, a few more things that we have done to the switching relay. We still have that same expansion port, all right, where it can tie in up to 120 zones. It is also a terminal for some future growth where we might be able to start talking to other manufacturers, our OEMs, like boiler manufacturers, where we can have a little more two-way communication rather than just a one-way communication. For those of you that are doing domestic hot water recirc, we have added a terminal on here for the 10K sensor, and auxiliary pump 1 would be the relay to run your pump. For those of you that may be familiar, and if you're not, I believe in episode 9 of Takeover After Dark, we're going to talk about the smart plug. So you have your smart plug technology built into this board already. So if you already have a hydronic system installed in this house and you want to do domestic hot water recirc, you drop a sensor here on the terminals and you wire your circulator here rather than going to find an outlet for that circulator. So we built it into here already. We're still supporting our tankless coils. All right, still got the LED lights in the front side, like I said before, and our management. This is all the same that I showed you originally that we did here. So this is some of the enhancements that we've done to the switching relay itself. And again, really happy with what we've done here every time. Oh, and dude, look at this. 5 ground screws on every controller.
We got comments on that, Dave. I'm sorry to interrupt, but we got comments today at our training too. I think one of the installers said that the ground screws are giving me goosebumps because I can retire my little stubby screwdriver, and it was funny. It was comical.
Yeah, yep. So we gave you 5 ground screws on every controller right now. Every controller is the same size box. All right. And the same size circuit board. So if you were to look at, say, a 503 board that we have here, it would be the same size circuit board. We just would not have the terminals for the rest of it on the end there. So it was a manufacturing change for us. And because of that manufacturing change, if you're familiar with the Dash 4, your priority zone was always the last zone. What we did now is that we moved priority to zone 1. All right, and it is labeled as your priority. That's your domestic hot water priority setup there. All righty. Triple T time. That is Takeo trivia time tonight. I just figured I'd name it Triple T instead of Triple D. I'm walking around the hotel here. There's a Guy Fieri restaurant downstairs, so I had to go Triple T instead of Triple D. All right, for diners, dives, and drives.
You just said that like a German. Guy Fieri. It's
Guy
Guy
Fieri?
Fieri.
Guy Fieri.
Yeah,
Guy Fieri. Come on, man.
I
All
might
right,
be dating
so-
myself here. I might be dating myself here, but this was my first album. This was the first album that was I've ever owned.
Really? Awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
I still have the cassette tape. Yes.
I do not still have it.
Excellent. Yeah, this was high school days for me. Probably towards the end of my high school days, listening to Synchronicity here. But trivia's got nothing to do with Synchronicity. It's got everything to do with the Police tonight. So I know last week, I've been on the road since last week. I haven't been home much, so I didn't send out anything from last week. For those of you that have joined us tonight that are expecting something, I actually got 2 returns, all right, that could not be delivered. I don't know why. And I have to double check my addresses. So let me pull it up real quick on who I got returns from. Okay, I just got it today. So Vincent Medeiros, I think you're online with us tonight. If you can, type in your address. So I don't know why it got kicked back, so we couldn't get it delivered to you. Vincent, I think out of Massachusetts. Let me know your address. And Yvonne, all right, Yvonne that's online with us from Portland. Let me know your address too, because something may not have transferred in properly onto my spreadsheets, because your package also got sent back to me. So I did send them out like I said I did, but it apparently didn't make it to you. So anyways, trivia time. Again, we still have some Takeo After Dark backpack coolers, and we do have some Takeo After Dark t-shirts to go out tonight. So the trivia tonight. The band named themselves the Police based upon Stuart Copeland. His father was a CIA officer. I thought was pretty interesting. I thought, and it did also have a little bit to do with the punk movement back in the day, and really rebelling against the police at the same time. So it was a double whammy on how they ended up naming themselves the Police, because they did a little bit, they played on a little bit of the punk circuit back then as well. You wouldn't think Police is too much punk, but they kind of were, or at least Sting was anyway, possibly. But anyways, the trivia question of the night: how did Sting get his nickname? So, and which he then legally changed, I believe, it to Sting at one point. So anyways, you'll have until the end of class tonight, and I believe JB, you're writing down the answers tonight.
I am writing down the answers tonight.
All righty, all right. So John's going to be
the wheel.
He will set up the spinny wheel of death in order to award.
What is it, the wheel of death?
Yeah, the spinny wheel of death. It just sounds so good.
Death.
Yeah. All right. So let us know how we got his nickname, and we will continue on. All right. We were having a conversation on the answer earlier, and I was Jason, now that you tell me that Synchronicity was your first album, but you didn't know the trivia answer, that was interesting.
I know. I'm ashamed of myself. I really am. I'm feeling I'll get over it, but
I think you'll sleep well tonight. Yeah.
And Jason, don't feel bad. We're ashamed of you too, so it's okay.
Oh, you know what? You're equal opportunity shame. There you go.
All right. So let's jump back into this thing and let's talk about the zone valve controls. What did we do on the ZVC boards themselves? And again, everything that we had in the EXPs continue into the Dash 5s with a bunch of improvements. This board I love. There's a lot of neat stuff that we have built into this. Again, the back knockouts that we had before, the programmable end switches that we saw before, the replaceable transformers. Now, when we look at the ZVCs, the 3 and 4 zone panels have 140 VA. The 5 and 6 have 240 VAs. So you're probably not going to need to update that. if you were looking at some Wi-Fi stats, unless you filled up a 6-zone board and you have some 571 zone valves on there. You got your heat motor zone valves. Those things are sucking a lot of juice as well. So then you might need to have, if you've got 571s and Nest style thermostats, which almost seems like an oxymoron there at the same time, right? I don't know. You got the highest technology and some of the oldest technology out there. Again, they work great. Well, and those out there that are cringing when I say the Nest name, I'm just using that as a general thing like Kleenex, but they do suck a lot of juice together. You might need an external transformer. And if you need help with that wiring, always contact our tech services team. They've got some excellent drawings, and talk to the people over at Google all the time on how to make their thermostats work with us. We have also added a terminal now for your line voltage coming into a zone valve board. Before, you had your black and white wires coming off the transformers loose, and you had to bring the power in, all right, and wire nut it together. We added a terminal. That was a big deal because we have also now made our pump switches here line voltage as well. Our old pump switches were dry contacts. You had to bring line voltage in, just like you had to bring the line voltage into the transformers. Now that we landed it here on the board itself, we're making wiring all that much easier. So for those of you out there that may be replacing, say, a ZVC on an existing project, just make sure that you follow the wiring, because this is already hot terminals. And if you were bringing power in and we've got power out, I'm just saying, that's when you start letting the magic PFM out of the boards. All right, we call that the magic smoke. Okay, so you don't want to let smoke out of the boards. Just be careful of that. Pay attention. And here on a ZVC board, we have 3 pump terminals now, not just 2. Now we're up to 3, and they are programmable. And again, I'll get to what the programming part of it is. All right, what else have we done? A lot of the same things as our SR panels before. We have that expansion port. All right, we have recirc also built into this board as well. So zone valves can also control your recirc pump, and auxiliary pump 1 is that default terminal for your recirc. In the dip switches here, again, very similar dip switches to the Dash 4, but the very last one, we added a setting for zone valves without end switches. All right, not a 4-wire zone valve. We're looking at a 2-wire zone valve. And we see a lot of that in our radiant systems and actuators. And if you had to use one of these on a Dash 4 control, you had to put a jumper across your 3 and 4 terminal in order to fake the end switch, because we never got the signal back from the unit itself. Well, now we have, and those actuators on a radiant manifold take a little while to open up, and we have a default of 1 minute for that valve to open. Again, we got our diagnostic lights on there and the wiring like we talked about before. So what are the dip switches on there? So when we take a look at the dip switches on our switching relay, here you're going to see the master expansion. So the master with the dip switch to the left here is saying this is the one that's connected to my boiler and also controlling my domestic hot water if you have it. Okay, that's the same as before. All right, from the Dash 4 to the Dash 5. The next one, my priority switch, same as before. I need zone 1 now to be my priority tank. All right, DHW, turn it on, and we've got priority control taken care of. Now, what we did here on the 3rd dip switch is controlling auxiliary 2. Auxiliary 2 is going to be my boiler pump. And if I have a wall-hung boiler that does not have an internal circulator, we need to control this. And we want to be able to turn it on or off for different applications depending on how you pipe it in there. For, say, your indirect tank. You might have your domestic hot water tank piped into the tappings right off of the boiler itself. And if you want priority, you got to make sure that pump stays off. If you have your indirect piped in as a zone next to your other zones, then I'm going to need to make sure that boiler pump runs when this calls so I can get the BTUs out to the boiler. So that's what we mean by on and off here, not off as in don't run, but I got to turn it off on any call and turn it on for just for priority, and then back and forth. You know what I'm talking about. Now we also have post purge in here, which we've had before, which means last zone calling. We're going to keep that zone on for 2 more minutes if no other call happens. So I have say a cast iron boiler or a high mass boiler. Let's take those BTUs out of the boiler and dump it into the last heating zone. All right, rather than just sitting in the boiler to go up the chimney and see you later forever. All right, so let's take those BTUs out and drop it into the house itself. All right, so there's an asterisk there, which means it's programmable as well. I can change that time, and I'll show you guys how to do that too. And my pump exercise, you'll see my pump exercise here. Again, 30 seconds every 2 weeks is my default, but I can also adjust that as well. All right, what did we do on, what are the dip switches on the ZVC board? All right, we had the same master expansion, priority on off, primary pump also the same. So the first 3 dip switches is the same between the SRs and the ZVCs, as well as post purge, pump exercise, and then you'll also see, now I'm sorry, post purge on a zone valve board is slightly different than the switching relay. The switching relay, we keep it to the last zone that was calling. We put the BTUs back into that zone. On a zone valve board, what we're going to do is if you have that priority on, we are going to take the BTUs and dump it into the indirect tank. All right. And making sure that we have those BTUs to go there rather than to a heating zone, because actually it's a very simple reason why we don't have a relay for a zone valve. We have relays for circulators. We don't have relays for zone valves. All we do is complete the circuit with the thermostat in there. So it's there was no way for us to do the last zone calling. So so if you're using a zone valve board and using post purge, make sure your indirect tank has a mixing valve on it so the water temperature doesn't get too hot going out to the house. Whoops. And then here you can see that time delay, all right, in the 2-wire zone valves. All right. Rock and roll. How we doing? Any questions out there? It feels like I've been talking for a really, really long time. I've seen a bunch of answers come through. Yes.
Yep. There's answers to the trivia, but not a lot of questions coming through. It means you're doing a good job.
Okay. All right. I don't believe that, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, I think my hotel has that discount internet because I had to turn my camera off to keep the lag from going.
Okay. All right. How's the video been for everybody out there? I know I see a bunch of answers coming through. Just want to make sure that everybody is looking well. Again, you know, internet, hotel internet. Yes, always challenging some days. Thanks, Hap. Awesome. All right, good. Now, did the other boys look a little choppy to you? Because I did notice that they turned their cameras off and made sure I was the only one talking right now. Okay, Rich asks, can we use 240 VA transformers? Yes, you can. Definitely. You mean in the switching relay? Yes, you can could take out the 20 and put 240s in. I would probably just add a 40. I don't think you may run into that much power where you need the 240s on a switching relay, but yes, you could. All right, doesn't make a difference there. Excellent. All right. What else have we added to these things? Well, we have the optional -R card. So you'll see right here in the middle of this board is showing the addition of an extra circuit. All right, so we have this extra card that can snap right into the board. And what that's going to do for us, and it's a separate item, we call it the PC800. And what that does is it gives us indoor or outdoor reset, or I like to say load compensation and weather responsive, all right, that we have. So you set it up either way. So here's the close-up of that board, and you'll see a couple of terminals on here. You'll see the output terminal, plus minus. We have boiler sensor and outdoor sensor. So the card, when you order the PC800 to add to one of those boards, it will come with one strap-on temperature sensor, which is meant for your boiler supply. So the boiler sensor is your boiler supply. If you want to do outdoor reset, you still need the boiler supply sensor that comes with the card, but then you will need to get an outdoor sensor that you will plug into the outdoor terminal here. And remember, that sensor needs to go on the north side of the structure above the snow line, all right, as high as you can. I like to put them underneath the eave, Make sure it's out of the sunlight, and make sure it's also away from any venting, like a boiler vent, a gas dryer vent, the kitchen vent, whatever it is, because you don't want to throw that temperature sensor off. If you put it in the sun, it's going to warm up and not give you the proper temperature outside. So also make sure it's above the snow line. It gets buried. Snow's an insulator, right? So we don't want that to happen either. So it's always sometimes a challenge to get that sensor outside. And yes, Eugene, they are all 10K sensors that we're using, correct. Rich says, put it on the intake pipe. Yeah, I just zip mine right to the side of it, right? Oh, the intake. I was going to say the outside. Yeah, the discharge. Yeah, your exhaust pipe. Yes, zip tie it to the exhaust pipe. Yep. So what are we doing with it? What do I mean by indoor reset or load compensation? What this is going to do, it's going to use only the boiler supply temperature sensor, and it's going to modulate that water temperature based upon run times of the zones. If your zone running times is recorded and they start to be really short, that means the water temperature is really high. So we want to start lowering it so we get longer run times of my zones, and that starts to drop that water temperature. So it starts to do the programming all on its own. All right, and looking at that runtime of zones and water temperature being sent out there. Outdoor reset we've been doing for decades. All right, and it's a great way to add some energy savings to your system. But the way I look at outdoor reset is you got to make, if you want to take full advantage of outdoor reset, one, you should have one zone in the house. Two, the boiler should be exactly matched to the heat load. All right, which we know is not happening. So this way, indoor reset almost is in my opinion, a little bit better, maybe a lot better than your weather compensation design, because it doesn't know what's going on in the house. It only knows what's going on outside. Okay, so a little bit different going on out there. Now we have this terminal on here that says 0 to plus minus, and now this is an output, all right, where we can go and talk to something else and give it a 0 to 10 signal or a 4 to 20 milliamp signal output. And if you're not sure what 0 to 10 means, or 0 to 10 volt signal, it's a calculation that's done by the board itself. And if it were to send a 10 volt signal across those two wires, that means whatever it's talking to, you should run at 100%. If it sends 5 volts out to it, it should run at 50%. So it's just that relationship out there. And there are starting to be boilers out there that accept a 0 to 10 volt signal input. And therefore, we can actually start telling the boiler what rate to fire at, rather than it to go to a high fire and step its way down. We can actually go, hey, based upon the zones that are calling right now, you only need to run at a 25% load. So let's send 2.5 volts across those wires. All right. Now, if you have a 4 to 20 milliamp connection on there, well, you'll make that selection and change it later on. We don't have to cheat it with some resistors. A lot of times you may have to cheat some of these and add resistors in line with it. You just hook up those terminals straight out in order for that to work. Like I said, you got your boiler sensor there, whoops, and you've got your outdoor sensor. So if you're using for outdoor reset. So this is what the Dash R card can get you out of here, and add that. If you've got a system out there, let's say you've got a couple of year-old cast iron boiler, and you know what, the homeowners are looking for some more efficiency out of it, you just snap that in, go outdoor reset, and you're done. All right, and you can get some efficiency points out of it. Now, if you don't have a boiler that's accepting that 0 to 10 input, all right, we can also do some other things with that, like a mixing valve and control the water temperature separately, or a 2-temp system with a mixing valve that can accept a 0 to 10, or even, hey, a circulator that might have a 0 to 10 input. So that'd be really cool if a manufacturer that made circulators that had a 0 to 10 input, huh? So.
Well, how about
really,
that?
Yeah, we could tell the circulator what to do, right? Yeah. So, excellent. All right. Any questions out there? Make sure you guys type it in there. John and Jason will interrupt me as we go through.
Yeah, well, there's one that just came in from Eugene. It says, can we connect to BMS to the control? Can we connect BMS to the control?
Okay. So no. Unfortunately, no. We're not communicating to any of the BMS systems out there. You will see on the board it says Modbus expansion. All right. So there is some protocols and some OEMs that we may be able to talk to in the future. And that's really what that Modbus is going to be reserved for, is communication, again, to talking to boilers, but not necessarily to a BMS system. So excellent question. Thank you, man. So no, we're not going to be able to do that. All right. Oh, okay. I can see the questions now. Do you need a separate control for injection mixing? So our PC705 that tied into dash fours was your variable speed injection mixing. And I don't have it in tonight's class, but we do have a way for you to take that PC705 and tie it into the dash 5 boards. We don't have the same terminal. I'm going to go back. Let me see here. I'm going to go back a slide, 2 slides. All right. You see that plug right here where the transformer would plug into? It looks very similar to the dash 4 power control terminal. It is, but it's in a totally different spot. You plug in a PC 700, 702, or 705 into that spot there, you're going to let the smoke out of both controls. Okay. But yes, you can tie in the PC 705, and yes, the PC 700 is still available today. We have not discontinued any of that, even though the PC 800 does replace the PC 700 if you had an existing, and you know what, the 800 is not a very expensive item to add to this board. So me personally, if you had a system that had a dash 4 with the PC 700 and the magic smoke was let out of the PC, out of the dash 4 board, I'd probably replace both rather than keeping something else that was already connected to something that let the smoke out. But yes, we still have them available today. All right. But wait, there's more. All right. Here we have an app built into the boards. So we have some extra features that we have built into these boards where now you can truly customize it to the system itself and gain that efficiency that we're always chasing. All right. Get the most amount of efficiency out of our system out there. And what can we do with the app? Well, one, like I said earlier, I was doing a class yesterday and they said, why did it take so long to come out with a new board? Right. And from here on out, we don't have to wait that long to come out with major improvements to it other than physical changes. Now we can do over the air updates, which means we can update the firmware as we come up with new software for these things or new things for it to do. All right. But what can we do today with it? Well, you can name the zones. Now, remember, the app that we have for this is going to be for you guys, for our installer base out there. It's not a homeowner needed app. It's nothing that they're going to need to take a look at and change or use on a daily basis. It's going to be just tying in and setting up for the first time. So you can name the zones. So you can name zone 1 DHW, zone 2 first floor, zone 3 Mo, Larry, Curly, whatever you want to. All right. So, and that's all nice and neat and stuff like that. But then we also have like that post purge. The default is 2 minutes. I can change that runtime up to 5 minutes if I wanted to, or bring it all the way down to 30 seconds. Your low mass boilers, let's take those a little bit of BTUs, scrub them out of there and put them into the zone. I can change my pump exercise. I can change my Smart Plus options in running. All right. So those are some of the things that we can change in there. Now we can also change the boiler end switch as well as the priority end switch. And I'm going to show you why would you want to control the boiler separately from here? And then we can change my auxiliaries as well. And of course, we can program in the indoor and the outdoor reset from here. So here's a quick example of the app itself. All right, a lot of things to show you guys. I just got a couple of screenshots I want to grab into you, and this is what it looks like. You log into a control. Now, The one thing I didn't say yet, this is a Bluetooth driven control. So we're not looking at Wi-Fi in the house. I know we don't have good Wi-Fi down in the basements. This is Bluetooth. It's not pairing like you would a headset. It is just a handshake. It's a communication, so you can do the programming. You've got 30 feet that you can talk to a board in a straight shot. Obviously, the more walls you have in the way, your distance gets less. So this first picture here on the left-hand side, you'll see, and I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. All right, as you zoom in, you can see my zone status, my info on the device. Here's my settings that you can change. Here's your installer settings. You can add some notes to the board if you wanted to, like the last time you did any service and logged in. You can also import and export your data. All right, so you do some settings on here. You can export it, save it to your device, whether it's an Apple or Google device. All right. And then disconnect, meaning, hey, I don't want to talk to it anymore. Let me go talk to somebody else, another Bluetooth connection. So if I were to click on zone status, as we zoom into that, you'll see each one of the zones that the control has. You can name them, but this part I really like. You want to check your wiring. You want to make sure you did it right. Rather than running up and down the stairs to turn a thermostat on and off, you can just click force on right here, and it's going to turn your pump on. So you don't have to get out your STS, right? Your sophisticated thermostat simulators. You can just click it right here and the zone's going to turn on, okay? And then you can see here how we go ahead and name those zones. Now, what I will also show you real quick, nope, no, I won't, not yet. Never mind, hang on a second. Now, where do we get into controlling the boiler? All right, and I've asked this, I think we asked this last week, how many zones is normal in a house today? And last week we said there is no such thing as normal. We see lots of zones, we see lots of micro zones. And if anything is going to kill the efficiency of a boiler, it's going to be short cycling. And we've been addressing short cycling of boilers based upon the equipment sizing all along. But we can still size that boiler correctly, size my circulators correctly. We're still going to short cycle the system because we got lots of little zones. And like in my own house right now, I've got a zone in my house. I got 7 zones in my house. I have the guest bath, hallway, and laundry room on the 2nd floor as a zone that has no exterior walls, all radiant floor heating. And so if that is the only zone to call for heat, the boiler is going to short cycle like mad because it's not extracting that many BTUs out of it. So the boiler just bangs on and off if that calls for heat. So what we can do is click on this view outputs tab down here at the bottom. You see that view outputs. And as I click onto that view outputs section, you'll see here I have control over my main boiler end switch, priority end switch, auxiliary 1, auxiliary 2. If I were to click on main boiler end switch, I'm going to tap into, and you'll see the first line here says default, the checkbox is on. In default mode, if any one of my zones calls for heat, it's going to close the end switch on the control to tell the boiler to fire. But if I were to uncheck the default and turn on zone 1, zone 2, and zone 4, and zone 3 is that micro zone, what it's going to do is I'm still going to run the pump for zone 3. It's still going to circulate water, but it will not fire the boiler. We're doing a little zone sequencing here, and it's going to say, all right, there's going to be another zone calling soon enough, and we'll fire the boiler then. All right, if you've got a cast iron boiler here, hey man, let's take those BTUs out of that boiler before we even think about firing it. So this is what I mean on how we can customize it and make it as efficient as possible. We can do the expansion. I think I saw a question on this before pop through here. All right. So when you tie in your expansions, you'll see both controllers by talking to one Bluetooth wise. So you see right here where it says connected controls, there's an SR506. I have a ZVC daisy chained into it. I can click on right there on where it says ZVC, and I pop up and I can see my ZVC. That is my expansion terminal, my expansion board, and this one is my master board. You'll see you have a couple more, like the import export setting is not available on the export, on the expanded one, because it's going to be on the master board, downloading and give you all the settings onto your device from back and forth that way. All right. But wait, there's still more. And I know I've got 1 minute left and I got 2 more screens. So hang on, everybody. This part's the really cool part when we start talking about our PC800. All right. So here, what we're looking at is showing the wiring for your 800 board. You're running your outdoor sensor. All right. But what I wanted to show you were the settings on the app here. You want to take a look on how many settings this thing has. It's going to depend upon what manufacturer you've got. So if you are doing that 0 to 10 communication terminal, you choose that boiler type in here that it can do it, whether it's an on-off or 0 to 10 or 4 to 20. Then you also have to know from the manufacturer, what is the minimum modulation? How low can it go firing wise? Some of them will not go below, say, a 10 or a 20% firing rate. So you have to make sure you choose that. So you just click on it and we get another window pops up. The beauty behind the app is if you don't have the PC800 installed, you don't even have access to this portion of it. It just grayed out. There's no choosing anything here. So you can see some of the different settings in order to make sure we get it as efficient as possible. All right. Radio buttons to make those selections, or a slider bar when it comes to your differential settings. And if you can't get the slider bar to the exact number, then you got the plus minus buttons right underneath that to get it to exactly what you want it to do. All right, so that's your PC800, some of the settings that you see there for indoor reset. Here's your outdoor reset. Now, the one thing that you need to know with the outdoor reset is setting up your reset curve. All right, so you'll have, again, that differentials. What we mean by response time, meaning is it high mass versus low mass? All right, how fast is that boiler going to heat up and cool down out there? So those are the bunch of things that we have. Now, we also have a brand new wiring guide with this, which wiring guide is in color, and you can download it from the website. Take a look at the controls under product page, go to the control section. And we also have an associated piping diagram to go with each one of those wiring diagrams. So with that being said, I'm only 2 minutes over, not too bad. All right. I have completed the class for the evening. Again, keep on typing your questions. And I think I saw a bunch come through here, but I wanted to make sure I ended really close to on time tonight. So before we get to the questions that you guys have out there, let's hit triple T time. And I did see a ton of answers. John, are you still typing out there?
My fingers are just raw from all the typing. All those great answers. My fingers are raw, people.
All right. All right. So Takeo trivia time tonight. All right. As we said, that how they named themselves the Police. How did Sting get his nickname? It was his high school band. All right. The Phoenix Jasmine. They nicknamed him Sting because he used to wear a black and yellow sweater all the time. So that's how he got that name in the early days of before he was in the Police itself. So the name just stuck. So thank you, everybody.
They could have named him Bumblebee, like the circulator.
They could have, yes. I thought this was a very appropriate trivia question for tonight when I saw Sting in the black and yellow, and I'm like, yeah, I got to do that tonight. So
there you go.
For those of you that don't know what John and I are talking about, and Jason talking about right now, is our first Delta T pump that came out 14 years ago. Was a variable speed ECM circulator. ECM, that's our first ECM, not variable speed, our first ECM. And it was black and yellow, and we nicknamed it at Takeo the Bumblebee. So we thought about naming it Sting, I think. No, we didn't. But anyways, so I thought that was appropriate for tonight. Doug remembers, of course, the Bumblebee. Yes.
There you go. The Bumblebee was the first U.S. designed, conceived, and manufactured ECM variable speed circulator, designed specifically for the American market. So that was a milestone for our industry.
Eugene remembers them. Yep. I think, and John, there's probably still one running in your house in Minnesota still today.
I think there probably is. Is.
Yep.
Hey,
I got one in my garage somewhere.
We had a couple of questions come in.
Okay.
Aaron Bruce asked, can you cascade multiple boilers with the R card, with the PC800? And that's going to be a no from me, Doug.
That is correct. But if you really wanted to cascade and rotate and stage and outdoor reset, you could still tie in the PC 702. So the 702 would do
Right.
that. We didn't build it into the board itself here because so many of the boiler manufacturers are already doing that themselves.
Right.
All right, so they're already doing that daisy chaining the two boilers back and forth to each other and have their own wiring behind it. So we didn't explore it any further, but if you needed to, the 702 can still tie in. The only downside to tying in a 702 and a 705 on our board, the injection controller, is if you have a 4-zone system, make sure you get a 5-zone. You need one extra port because I need to use those terminals in order for it to be wired in there. So you have to have an extra terminal to so to speak, sacrifice in order to make it work. Excellent. Thank you for that question.
We had a question from Paul Leonardi who asked, and I think you might have answered this, Dave, can the Dash 4 boards work with the Dash 5 boards? And that, again, that'd be a yes from me, dog.
Yes, you can. Not the exact same way. So where you have the expansion terminals, we're not going to tie in there. We have other ways in order to make them talk to each other. The wiring diagram does go into detail whether it's going to be the first board and second board and which one is which. We even go as far back as taking a Dash 5 and tying into a Dash 2 board. So that's also in the new wiring guide that we have.
Very good. And Paul was looking for where the wiring guide is on the website. It'll be on the product page for the new controls.
Right. So when you look at the website, click on the control. Actually, I think I could probably do that from here, can I? If I'm sharing the screen. Let's see here. What do they see now? You see that? If I were to open up the website, let's see. Click there. Blow that up for a second. Come to Takeo Home. I'll show you where it is. If the internet, I'm eating up a lot of bandwidth in my hotel room here. Go to visit site.
Yeah, I just tried to pull it up myself to send him I was going to send him the link in the answer column, but I pulled up the website and I almost crashed out. So,
okay. So hit products, go to electronic controls, click on either switching relays or zone valve controls. And now with the first thing, unfortunately, you'll see the Dash 4s and click on the Dash 5. So we click on Dash 5 boards, scroll again, hit documents, and you'll see the wiring guide. All right. And you'll be able to download that as a PDF if you want to see it, or make sure you get in touch with your local wholesaler and/or rep, and you should be able to get a hard copy as well. So make sure you ask those guys out there for some of that stuff. This is going to take a little while to download, so I'm going to close that out and pull back up my screen again. Actually, I don't think I need to anymore. I don't think I need to share. We're all done, aren't we?
Well, we got to take my screen.
Oh, you got to take the screen. That's right.
Yeah, I got to take the screen, man.
I'll send it to you.
Spinning wheel of death.
That's right. Do you see my screen?
I don't know yet. Now I do. There it is.
There it is. There it is. So I have everybody. I hope I got everybody in here. I hope I got everybody.
Wow, that's a lot of names out there. Yeah, man.
I told you, I got blisters on my fingers.
Hey, JK.
Yo.
I do not have a pad and pen here in front of me, so do you have one?
I got you, brother. I got you, brother.
All right, sounds
Names
good.
Written down. I'll take a picture of it and send it to you.
Sounds good. Thanks, brother.
All righty. Are we ready to rock?
We are ready to rock and roll.
So the first prize is going to be for the backpack beer cooler wine thing, right?
That's right. Yep, we are ready to rocks and roll. Yes.
There we
go.
Roxanne. One of the greatest scenes from a movie was Eddie Murphy singing that in that wasn't Beverly Hills Cop. No, that wasn't Beverly Hills Cop. That was the one with Nick Nolte. 48 Hours.
48 Hours. Yes. Yes.
Great scene. Great scene.
Yes.
All right, we ready, Roxanne? Let's rock it.
Let's do it.
Put that red light on. Put the red light on.
Tick. And oh, Cody Smith. Congratulations, Cody. All right.
Awesome.
Way to go, Cody. All right. Now we get t-shirts, or what are we doing? T-shirts?
Yes, let's do some tea. You know what? Let's give another cooler away. I got
You got
a whole bunch I got to get rid of still.
All right, one more
Let's
cooler.
do 2 coolers tonight because I'm feeling really generous. I had fun tonight.
You the man. All right, 2 coolers. And the next cooler goes to, oh, where is it going to go? Will Wilson, right? Just
Well,
the
well
last,
said.
Will, the last second it ticked over to your square. So good for you. I think, Corey feels like you got screwed. Sorry, buddy, but that's how it goes. It's the luck of the spin, man. That's how it works. That's how it works. Okay, now we get some T-shirts, some Takeo After
Now we'll do
Dark
some T-shirts.
t-shirts.
Yes. And if
All
you
right.
answer the questions, I should have your sizes and I will send them out. I'm going to be home next week, so I should be able to get some of this stuff sent out next week. Definitely.
All right, Patrick. Patrick, I think won last week too. So another T-shirt for
I
Patrick.
think you did it.
Way to go, man. All right, all right, all right. Okay, let's do another one. Tick, 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 tick. Kevin Flaherty with a T-shirt. All right, Kevin.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody.
One more,
So-
Dave. One more. You want to? Are we good? One more?
Go one more. Sure,
One
sounds
more.
good.
I'm very liberal with the T-shirts, and you're sending stuff out. There we go. All right, our last
That's
T-shirt goes to James Winslow. All right. Very good, very good, very good. All right. That's another great evening of Takeo After
was.
Dark. Yeah.
Yes, man. Yeah, man. Where am I?
Cool.
Next week. What are we doing next week? What's next week's class?
Next week it's going to be part 7.
Part 7. Yes. Yes.
It
I
is
was just
part-
looking up the title. Is DHW indirect sizing and mixed valves.
Oh joy, oh joy. One of my favorite courses. One of my
It
favorite
is.
courses.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I do like that one myself too. Yes.
Yeah. How can we get indirects working the way we need them to? And some little tricks of the trade you can use to excuse me, tricks of the trade you can use to get them to sing and dance a little bit for you and optimize your output and optimize their performance. So we've got some pretty cool stuff there for you.
Yep, definitely. So I did see a few more questions coming in here. Yvonne, I see your address there, so I'll make sure I will double check. You know what? You know what? Yeah, there was a typo at somewhere. I didn't see the Main Street dropped in there. I think I saw Southwest Suite 1600, or I think it was just Southwest Main Street. It didn't have the suite on there, so I think that's what I'm missing. Thank you. Ivan's asking, why didn't we not continue to use the 360 swivel flange on the new Cirques like we used on the Bumblebee? Yeah, that was a
Great
great idea,
question.
man. Yep.
It's price.
Yeah, John. Yeah,
It was
you do
price.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It was price.
yeah, it was all price, and it wasn't price from us. We would ask everybody. Everybody said, yes, continue doing it that way. Those are awesome. And I said, all right, well, we're going to raise the price of the standard 007 $25. All right. And they were like, oh, no, we're good with the way it was. But what we did do to the new ECM circulator, new design circulators, we made that universal flange. All right. And that did not raise the price whatsoever. So we gave you the universal rather than the swivel.
Right.
So we have that the 4-bolt, or we call it the 2F4 for the last numbers on your ECM circulators.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah, the swivel flange was great. It was great in theory. Actually, the 4-way flange I actually does work a little bit better because of the way it is milled and how the circulator itself sits on the accepting flange. You put that circulator on another flange, and the circulator itself is balanced, so it doesn't want to flomp around on you. So it's a lot easier to make the connections. Because you don't want any, you don't want circulator flomp. Flomping circulators are bad.
Flomping? Yes.
Flomping, yeah, you don't want to flomp around. It's an industry term.
Okay. I see a question here from Rich. He was asking, will it work with the 0026 and 34 with supply and return sensors? So what we have coming output is a 0 to 10. So we don't have any supply return sensors for the circulators. I mean, we have the outdoor sensor, so it's not a Delta T. It's going to be a 0 to 10 communication protocol that we have there. So me personally, unfortunately, I haven't wired one up and set one up with it yet. in my world, in my projects that I've worked on. So I haven't done any projects right now with the circulator doing a 0 to 10 signal input wise. But it's what it's supposed to be used for somewhere, but I just haven't worked on it personally. I've programmed it, but I didn't know what it did after that. I didn't have anything connected to it. So haven't gotten to a big job just yet.
Back to flanges, Douglas mentioned that the 4-way flange fits almost every application, and it has nut grabbers. And milled
Capture
nut,
flanges.
yeah, whatever. Milled nut grabbers. They're milled into the casing itself. The
They'll always be nut
grooves
grabbers.
are milled. So what milled means is that it's very precise. It acts as a mini wrench. There are others that make that cast those little nut grabbers into their circulators, but the edges are kind of rounded, and sometimes they don't grab quite as well. Ours are milled, so they're very precision milled by the CNC team. So they act as a really secure wrench, and it makes it very easy to put in.
So Vincent had a statement here before, and he said he still has a Bumblebee running at his house.
You the man, Vincent.
Yeah,
you
man.
the man. If you were
And
here, we'd be hugging right now.
Yeah, and he said he's also running a Techmore 400 control, which basically has RTUs.
Mm-hmm.
And the RTU is getting the temperature from inside the house upstairs. He says it's similar, but yeah, it's different.
Yeah,
right?
with the. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you. Oh, so you're not talking. All right, fine, be that way. I think I like about the PC800, you don't need indoor sensors, just regular thermostats. There's nothing indoor. The only feedback it needs is how long is the zone running. If the zones start to have shorter and shorter run times, that's a signal that says, hey, maybe the water's too hot, let's drop it down and try to optimize, balance and optimize the zone run times. So it doesn't have indoor feedback, but it's inferring a lot of stuff, but by how long individual zones are calling, which I think is pretty clever.
We're just making the wiring easier.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right. Yeah. It's at that point, it's all about the stat settings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the temperature of the stat is set for. Doesn't matter what the temperature is. It's all about the comfort of the people upstairs. They're the ones adjusting the thermostat. So that's what Eugene was saying here. You have people controlling the stat upstairs. So yeah, right. You want to change it to the number that they're comfortable at. Like in my house, my radiant system is set for 69 degrees. At my mother-in-law's house, which is actually connected to mine, she keeps it at 74. All right. And I don't have the -5 in my house just yet. I think I got a project for myself over the weekend.
There you go. It's something to keep you busy because
Yeah,
Lord knows when you're idle, bad stuff happens.
I know, right? So yeah, now it's really dependent upon the comfort and making sure we get to the efficiency as well. Because a lot of times things that are so super efficient skimp on the comfort side of things.
Right.
Because yeah, we're using less fuel to do it, but now we're going to actually use the fuel properly to make sure you're comfortable as well. Yep.
Here's a great question from.
Go ahead.
Jason, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Your turn. You go.
No. I was. You go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
Do I need to mute you guys? You might have to.
Douglas asked, most cast iron boilers have indoor reset. Does that work with the indoor reset on the zone control? I'd say pick one or the other.
Correct. Yeah, you're not gonna do both at that point, right? So you'd have to pick one to operate it over the other. That's correct. Yeah. Very different than when we were talking about earlier this year with our Delta T circulators. Delta T circulators don't care what the water temperature is. It only cares about the temperature difference. But here, if you were to try to get both of them to work, you're looking at the situation of there's two drivers, one car, right? And things start fighting each other back and forth. Yeah. So let one do, since they're both doing the same thing, let one of them do it. Yep.
Yeah, Rich McGrath just put me in my place. He said, folks with hair can wait. Thanks, Rich. I appreciate that. You that's okay. Maybe I should grow a beard and get a ponytail because I want to be like Rich.
Excellent. Wow, this is a good class tonight. Thanks everybody for joining us for Takeaway After Dark again.
Thank
Good
you,
times
Dave.
as always. What's that?
I said, thank you, Dave.
No problem. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Jason.
Yes. Thank you,
Oh, you're
guys.
quite welcome.
Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys were racing out of your training class today to get all set up here today too as well, right?
Well,
We
yeah,
were racing.
we raced. We finished around 2 o'clock. Got out of there about a little before 3,
Okay.
and we started here at 4. So yeah.
Excellent. All right. Thanks everybody. I see everybody logging in and logging or just posting in here. So yeah, I'm getting a little. Yeah, we're getting better at this stuff, huh? You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Been a lot of fun doing these things, and it still doesn't get that old.
Oh hell no, this is fun.
Ton of
This
fun.
is
Yeah.
Ton of fun.
Yeah,
It's-
it is. It is now. We have the opportunity now to turn on and have everything all. We could just poof log in and we do this. I mean,
Yep.
there is still some planning that goes on in putting these things together, but it's not like the very early days of Takeaway After Dark where we had a 7 o'clock start time. We logged in at 6 just to make sure everything was working.
right.
So yeah, so now it is almost second nature doing Takeaway After Darks now. And you know what? It does make it easy with the three of us doing this too, right? I
Right.
mean, this team that we have here is just an awesome team too at the same time.
I
It does
believe-
make it easy. Yeah.
I believe we are coming up. I think it's within the next 2 classes. We are coming up on our 100th, right?
You know what? I was just thinking I know we're close.
I
know
think-
we're really close to it. Yeah.
If it's not next week, it's the week after.
Okay.
Let's check that out. We're
I
gonna
can,
have to.
yeah, I will. Now that I'll have some office time next week, I can easily check that out. Yes.
Yeah.
I just
Let's
got to put it on my calendar. So I will put it on my calendar as an appointment to make sure I look.
It's our 100th class. I think we got to have a
100th.
celebration. We got to have a
100
celebration.
classes a Takeaway After Dark. I don't think we can give away T-shirts that night.
No, I don't think we can. We have to give away
Yeah.
something. Something
Yeah,
big.
we have to give away gold bars. Yeah, gold pumps.
Yes, there you go. That's it. And to commemorate, I think we'll all have to have peanut butter and blue cheese sandwiches.
Ah, come on.
Jason, that's the price. That's the price of admission, man. That's an initiation. You're gonna have to make yourself a grilled peanut butter and blue cheese sandwich for our 100th episode.
It's good,
I
dude.
feel like you're.
Oh,
I
you'll
feel
love
like
it.
you're hazing.
You'll love
I
it.
feel like you're
You'll love it.
hazing me.
It doesn't
No.
sound good, but dude, it is amazing.
It sounds
Yeah,
way.
I don't believe you.
It tastes
Come on.
way. It tastes way better than it sounds. Or it sounds way
There
better
are
than it tastes.
odd
I'm not
food-
sure
there
which
are-
one, man.
There are odd food combinations out there that shouldn't work that do, but I'm not buying this one.
Like tuna fish and ice cream.
Precisely.
There you go. All righty, folks.
So where are you guys heading? Are you
thank
guys
you.
heading out to dinner tonight? Or are you just gonna stick solo in the hotels?
I'm sticking
No,
solo, man.
in the hotel. We've got to leave. We're about a 45 minutes south of Seattle tomorrow for our training. We want to get there early to do some setup. So we're going to probably leave here at 6:45 tomorrow, train all day, and then we're some mad dash for the airport. You know the drill.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, the time difference kind of gets to you after a while.
Yep.
Where all of a sudden it's like I just realized it's 5:30 right now here in Seattle. I could go to sleep right now.
And there's no way I'm going to sleep tonight because the show's over. A bunch of us are still here at the hotel, and my phone has been buzzing like mad. Like, where the hell are you, Dave? How come you're not downstairs at the
Down to
casino
the party.
right now?
Yeah, okay, go. Got to hit the after party. Got to hit the.
Yeah. Well, it's been after parties all week already, and it's the last after party. So yeah, I'm exhausted already. I'm exhausted thinking about it right now. So I am probably going to go downstairs and watch people lose money. So
There you go.
I'm not. Mine's
go.
gone already. So
bet,
yeah.
Bet $20 on Black 17 for me.
Okay, you got it.
And if 17 happens to be red, then bet it on red 17.
Okay, you got it. I will put it on both. How's that?
There you go. That works for me.
Yeah. All right, everybody.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for another episode
Always
of
so much
Takeaway
fun.
After Dark. We look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jason. Good to see you, boys. We'll
Good to
get
see you,
together
Dave.
soon enough. Yep. Got factory class also coming up in a
Yeah,
couple weeks.
just a few weeks. Yeah, got a factory
13th.
class in factory class in Cranston, Rhode Island. So anybody out there who wants to come spend time with us in the flesh, which actually sounds kind of disturbing, but be there with us in person. That might actually sound better. We would love to have you come join us.
Yep. And you can take takeaway after dark in 2 days rather than 9 weeks. Yeah.
And
So,
you'll know all the answers to the trivia questions. So there you go.
that's right. Thanks, everybody. Good to
We'll
see
see
you
ya.
all.
Be good,
See ya.
everyone. Bye-bye.